to MarkWHO77, your place to hear all the news and all the interviews on British comic creators in conjunction with the 77 publications. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. With me today are
Vicky Jacobowski
and
Ben Gullis, aka Banksy.
Yay, Banksy! Oh, we've got a guest for you. But before we talk about our guest, let's shoot the breeze a little. We're doing our show. We've been on. This is our 12th episode. 12th
Wow!
Episode. We're getting there. It's almost our bar mitzvah. Almost. Next episode's our bar mitzvah. So, first, I wanted to talk about Children in Need is this weekend coming up Friday. Children in Need in England, BBC One. Ben, do you ever contribute?
Well, as someone who's been in education, it has a tie-in with schools quite a lot. As long as I've been teaching, Pudsey has been an active participant in the school assemblies, the morning sessions. And in fact, in a lot of schools, the whole of the Friday. And it's the same. We have another fundraiser. There's a comic relief, which is all the comedians do the shows and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Children in Need, as you can imagine, it's absolutely, it's almost like written into the curriculum. And as teachers, that's when we have to do daft things as well, and as a cooking teacher, I had to have to do sort of daft bits of cooking and eating horrible things. And we ended up usually getting covered in, foam pies or whatever. It was just great stuff. And it gets really good attendance figures. People watching it. Half the country seems to watch it, and it raises. I think we've raised something like $1 billion over the years it's been going.
Nice.
I've been watching it. I've been watching it live for many years, and don't ask how I do that.
And of course, there's a DW.
There is,
link.
And
yes,
it's interesting because they're like just now coming out with what the DW thing is going to be about, and something to do with Scarrow or something like that, some planet, and like it's interesting because like I'm reading on social media. Oh, did he film this recently? And they brought him back to do it, but I think they filmed it when they were doing his regular filming, David Tennant.
So we don't usually talk DW, but I've got to say a couple of things. I'm going to ask you. I want to talk
DW. I want to talk DW a little bit later in the show.
I know, but not about our guest. I'm going to ask you how far you are in to the reruns now that they've all dropped on BritBox, and particularly for us Brits, we can watch it on the BBC Red Button.
You can watch it
up to Tom. I'm up to Tom, and that's where I kind of almost started when I was a youngster. So there we go.
Well, I'm all through classic again, and I'm halfway through new.
So when do you get the drop of the recolored Daleks, the first Daleks? We do.
We don't. Well, I will, but we don't in America. But I will, but we don't. Again, I'm not going to talk about it. Okay.
I'm going to wear a T-shirt next week saying I've watched it. Something like that.
That's an idea. That's actually an idea. I remember when Patrick Troughton died, I made a sweatshirt and a T-shirt like the day I found out, and was wearing them at a convention the following weekend. And people were like, "Where'd you get that?" I'm like, "I made it myself."
There you go.
Yeah. But I was going to say, so the comic strip that's been in Doctor Who magazine for the past 14 months has been a Dalek story, and according to RTD, it led directly into between the regeneration and the start of the specials. And I'm thinking, well, because of that, and because it's on Scarrow, he planned it because this is chapter 15 of the comic strip. All right, and you're right, that this is the longest we've talked about Doctor Who, except when we're talking to the guests about storyboards and things. We haven't done that. Let's talk about Thought Bubble. How'd it go?
Well, I'm post Thought Bubble. We're recording just the Monday after I've come back. I've got the sexy voice. We were pretty much on it. Myself and Steeple and Joe Healy all weekend. We had Ian Stopforth with us, drawing, painting, chatting with people. He had a great conversation with Richard Starkings, and Richard has got some amazing contacts that Ian is going to be using. it's always pleasurable when you work with
Yeah.
the creators, and then you can get, they get their work seen, and it's in context, because of course we got a whole magnificent display of all of our work and comics. Lifeboat sold, it's just incredible. I took 3 full boxes, and we needed more. Fantastic reception and acclaim. So we were pushing the hardcover, the
Right.
deluxe, and people just couldn't get it quick enough. And it was just great to see a really happy bunch of people who seemed intent. People seemed to actually want to take their hands out their pockets with some money in it.
Yeah.
You sometimes go to
Nice.
shows and you can tell people are, I don't know, maybe people last year weren't so sure of circumstances, and maybe they weren't. I'm not saying going to Thought Bubble was like cheap. I mean, you still got to pay an entrance fee,
Yeah.
like most conventions. But this year, talking to all the exhibitors and traders and just friends of mine, they just said really words like "never seen a show like it."
Wow.
In that the quality was there, everyone was on form. It was just a really nice place to be and to talk to people. Fantastic. So sometimes as an exhibitor, it can be a struggle when you're not selling a lot to keep it perma smile, and just. But no, people wanted to talk. They wanted to see the products. They wanted to chat. Creators were just happy. Panels were awesome. So yeah, if anyone listening hasn't been to Thought Bubble, it's an annual. It's not a seasonal. It's an annual. Yeah, where are we? The midpoint in November every year. It's in Harrogate, which is a spa town. Spa towns in the United Kingdom, they're like Bath and Cheltenham and Leamington. So they're kind of like Georgian, beautiful facaded buildings with huge hotels which were built for the well-heeled of the 18th and 19th century to go and take the waters as such. And they've usually got amazing city centres and shops. And Harrogate is one of those towns. It's a major town in Yorkshire. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Betty's Tea Room.
No.
Oh, these places. So it's where they send the English tea. You're going to get an afternoon tea on one of those silver salvers with the three layers, with the sandwiches and the cakes and the petit four or whatever it is, all those things. And people queue outside for like an hour to get in just for a tea and a slice of cake. And that was packed.
I could see that.
Yeah. Oh,
I would do that.
They wear the ladies who serve have a black little pinafore thing with a kind of a white part to it, and it's all the hair's kind of in a bun. It's all really very traditional stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, you'd love it. Absolutely love it.
I would love it.
Yeah, we had a great time going out, meeting friends, having a couple of drinks. We took an Airbnb with the 77 guys. And it was just absolutely great. So here I am on a Monday. I've been working this morning, and now I'm just slightly flagging. So if I doze off, and Thought Bubble, yeah, tremendous, absolutely tremendous, and gets me thinking. So this is the final show of the year for me, unless something pops up, which makes me start thinking about spring next year, Vicky.
Spring.
What are we doing? What are we doing in spring next year, Vicky?
I don't know. What are we doing in the spring?
You're a traitor. That's what you're doing. You're flying. You're going back to the oil country. I don't know.
I love it. We might be visiting a little city called Bristol.
Ooh, okay. Which means, of course, you're going to get down and be lawless, aren't you? You're going to be. Yes, that's great.
I'm going to misbehave with some of my favorite people.
Oh. It's all done in the best possible taste. Okay.
Absolutely.
And it's very friendly.
I mean, no offense. None of us are young anymore, so we're going to misbehave as best we can.
We should do a recording.
And we've got to ask.
Oh, no, there will be no recording.
No, I don't mean that. We should do a recording, the three of us. Do a recording, you two over there, me over here. We talk about it.
So one of the things is we have some of the best cosplayers in the country attend.
Ooh,
we have to get
they've been attending Lawless ever since it was.
I saw some of the pictures last year. I just absolutely
And we
flabbergasted. I
know,
love
that
cosplay.
we know you're a top notch yourself. So can't wait to see whether you get the baggage allowance to be able to
Yeah.
pack some
I'm not
stuff.
sure I can bring a bag big enough to bring some of my costumes, so
Well,
I
I've
might
got a
just
friend,
bring
so
my
our good
camera.
friend, yeah, I've got to shout out Joanna. She travels over from Ireland, and there's a link there for you as well. And she says to me she has a problem with her baggage allowance because one or two outfits and costumes are not enough. It's
Yeah.
not enough for a 2-day show, you know.
No,
So
because you want to change, and you got breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then you got the after parties. And how many costumes can I wear in one day?
and also to say, I know we've had the lawless conversation with Sue only a couple of weeks ago, Sue Hadrell,
Yeah.
but we are having a gala evening.
Oh,
There's going to be the awards. We've got new awards show because it's our 10th. So you're going to have to pack something for the gala as well. I know. Well, you're going to have to send ahead. You're going to have to send a consignment ahead,
There
aren't
you
you?
go.
On the
That's the way to do
steam
it.
packet across the ocean.
I can just picture my customs list. And the custom officer is going to go, it has what in it?
But exactly. Hear how we're talking. It's like these things are just, they're so good. And you look forward to them, don't you? My mum always said about holidays, for example, the best thing about a holiday, she said, book one or book several, because you've always got something to look forward to. Always got to look ahead.
Yeah.
You've always got to be doing these things, you know. So I'm really thrilled, and we're counting down the days. So I think we're May 25th, 26th,
5th and 6th. Yeah,
you got it. You got it. There we go.
Okay.
Mark, what are you doing the weekend of May 25th, 26th?
Crying into my pillow.
he's going to record with us, so
No,
he'll
we're
seem
gonna
like he's
record.
there
We
with
are totally.
us.
We're gonna totally
Yes.
do something.
We will
and we'll
find
put
a
it
way
on
to
YouTube.
record.
For MarkWHO.
Yes.
We're gonna do a MarkWHO77 for Lawless
course.
live. Well,
Yes.
it won't be live when they're watching it, but live from Lawless.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ben, do we have any news coming out of either what you just did, Thought Bubble, or elsewhere in the 77 publications universe?
Okay, so as always, we're generally having just released a book, looking to release a book, or fundraising for a book. So where are we? What's happening at the moment? So we're mid-November here. We've got the annual, the Christmas special. We always do a 100-page plus yearbook as such. That's already hit goal, which will be great. We're going to make sure that everyone in the UK gets theirs for the big day. Probably not anyone, I'm afraid, in the States who's backing. You could well. Everyone's going to get a digital though with it, so you can open your little digital in the morning, have a look. We've got, as I said, Lifeboat is just absolutely wowing everybody, and we've got some outstanding and amazing news that I think we'll let Steve Bull announce it when he has. But we got a confirmation of an artist. He did the deal at Thought Bubble with a very well-known artist, and this artist has been sanctioned by Ian Gibson. They won't be having to shoehorn their style or to ape in any way. Their style is so accessibly Gibson-esque and beautiful, and they're just a great artist, and they're going to fit right in. And Ian's thrilled about the reception of the book. He saw the book a few weeks ago anyway, but he's got copies, and we're just so happy that he's got this book that he's wanted out for ages. Looking ahead, I mean, as I said, Christmas isn't far away, which means as soon as Christmas Day finishes, we launch the next issue of the 77. So it's 77X or 10. I think we're going to.
Does Elon Musk have anything to do with it?
Sorry?
Does Elon Musk have anything to do with it?
Not if I can help it.
Okay. Well, then you can't call it X.
Oh, I see. EX.
Oh, please. Elon does not have
X. He owns X. That's what I hear.
Can't own X no matter how hard he tries.
I saw on social media that he owns X, and you can believe everything on social media or on X. You totally can.
I think Elon Musk is a big L. There we go.
Thank you. Yeah, make it that way because it's reversed. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No, we're not discussing him. He doesn't even like comics, really, does he? Does he even like comics? I don't know.
I don't care if he likes comics. We don't care.
I don't care, but I do like it when I hear people who are celebrities who have a particular like of comics. I was talking to a very well-known, in fact, a legend of the British publishing industry, and I haven't yet invited him, but he's going to be on this show. And
Okay.
he launched one of the most important bookstores in the country back in the 70s, and a line of books which became basically a mainstay of British reprints through the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
I think I know
And
who
I
you're
met him, and
talking
it's
about.
like I met, it's like I met Charlie Watts from the Rolling Stones. He was suave, he was well dressed, he was groomed. You could tell this guy had lived. I mean, he's lived. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. But he knew his stuff, and he came and sought us out and wanted to chat, and we'll have some exciting news about some things that we're going to be doing with him. I don't want to mention names at the
I
moment.
think I know who you're talking about. I think I know because I've gone through the history books, comic history books, British comic.
Okay.
So I, you know,
well, put it this way: he goes, "Well, I was speaking to Bill and Neil, and Dave, and you're like, and you're going, oh yeah, and they wanted to have a cover for the book about that, and you're like, okay." And you're just like, yeah, I wish I knew Bill, Neil, and Dave like you do.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? I wish I knew Tom, but that's back to this.
Anyway, so thank you for asking, and clearly for me as well, and for Steve, and for Joe, it's just an opportunity to meet and greet and chat people. We've had people come to us ideas about sort of digitals and streamings and all sorts of new things and excitement. Now I've just got a list of people to call and speak to and have meetings with over the next week or so. But I guess that's a really good show, isn't it? Where these opportunities present themselves, and some of it's a bit left field. We weren't kind of expecting it. But yeah, they're really, really, really good. So, I mean, we've talked about the States, obviously, but I was discussing someone else, and they're going to say about, I have to be careful how I say this because my French pronunciation isn't very good. Angoulême, the big European comic convention, is in France.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like on Angoulême, but I think you said Angoulême.
Okay.
Anyway,
we'll have a fact checker. They'll fact check and they'll make a correction on the comments below the.
They'll say idiot. Can't even say the name of the place, But there we go. We're also thinking they're going to be doing Enniskillen, which is talking of Ireland, is in the north. That's a week after Lawless, Vicky. So who knows? I could even be in Ireland if you're the week after. We could catch up in Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you at Enniskillen. Mark's going to be so annoyed.
I'm so nice. I just want to remind everyone, look below right here. This is where we want you to like and subscribe. Like this video and subscribe to the 77 Publications YouTube page or YouTube channel. Let's call it the right word, channel. Just like you wouldn't call it like the English page, you'd call it the English channel. So we got
the English channel is that little bit of water between England and France,
right? But it could be.
Oh,
but I
might
have called it page. I might have accidentally called it page before, and I want to make sure my fact checking is correct. All right.
An English page is the one who serves the king his marmalade on toast in the morning.
Yes, and I'm not going to comment on that because I'm not.
I don't know if King Charles is a comic fan. He actually liked the Goons, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I know he's been on the DW
as well.
set.
He was a big comedy fan, so it's very possible that he liked some aspects of.
I think he liked Doctor Who too because he was on the set and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, why don't you do introductions, Ben, of our guest?
Absolutely. I had a pleasure of meeting Richee on Saturday at Thought Bubble. It's great catching him in the flesh. We've worked together, and he's an amazing filmmaker. So I'm going to introduce Richee Mathwin.
All right. Why don't we take a look at the video he made for Lifeboat for the 77? Let's put that on right now.
Your son's dalliance with the rebels has betrayed us.
Good, kill, bad.
We are betrayed. When will you creatures understand that you can't get in our way?
Leave my mum alone.
Let's get to that lifeboat!
That's a great video. And you know what? Let's not even wait. Let's bring out Richee Mathwin. Welcome, Richee.
Hello. How are you doing?
We're doing great. So I'm glad to have you on the show today. We've been actually looking forward to it. I think we scheduled it a bit back, but we weren't able to do it till today. My computer, I had to replace. Oh, well, that's enough about me. This is all about you. We're going to ask, we do an interview. We ask you questions. That's how an interview works. But the first question I always ask this question. It is the hardest question of the whole show. You will not have a problem with any other question after it. This is the one. We get it out of the way. The first question. You ready?
Hit me.
Who is Richee Mathwin?
Richee Mathwin is like probably a lot of of your viewers is an embarrassing nerd. I
Nothing embarrassing about it.
Not with us. Maybe other people,
no.
but they're.
This is true. No, I came from a town in the northeast of England, a very quiet little fishing town. Moved to West Yorkshire many years ago to study film. I've always been interested in film. Previous to that, I was a professional musician as well. So I've kind of always been involved in the arts in one way or the other. And I always had a sort of a huge love for sort of comics. And it took me quite a long time to sort of find my place in that, because everyone seemed to be always reading your Marvels and your DCs. And superheroes don't sit well with me. It bores me to tears, quite frankly. I like the sci-fi, and I like my horror. So that's kind of just the crux of it. Anything sort of nerdy is kind of what I'm into and what I've always really been into. As well as that, a family man as well. I have a wonderful wife and son. And yeah, anything creative, anything fun, anything a bit scary, a bit sci-fi. That's what I'm into, and that's kind of what I torture my family with. Yeah, generally.
Okay.
Sounds right. Sounds appropriate.
Yeah.
We have plenty of questions to ask you today. A lot of other stuff we want to talk to you about, but I need to address the elephant in the room, and it's because of this logo behind me. You see that? I found out something about Doctor Who and me. 50 years of Doctor Who fans. What?
Yeah. So yeah, it was for the 50th anniversary. Funnily enough, I was freelance at the time, and I was doing a lot of work for the National Media Museum. Well, it was called the National Media Museum, which is in Bradford, where I live. It's part of the Science Museum group in the UK. So you've got the Science Museum in Manchester. I think there's one in London as well. And I can't remember the name of the museum now. They changed it slightly. They like the rebrand. They like to waste money and rebrand every now and again. But the Media Museum is an incredible place. I had done a lot of filming there previously, and had access to their archives out the back, where you can sometimes go. First time I was in there, I literally walked in, and there was original Ray Harryhausen on the table. Airing. The skeletons from Jason and the Argonauts were there, and I can never remember the name of it. The huge statue that's on the beach.
The Cyclops?
No, there's a huge statue kneeling down. It's going to drive everyone insane.
Yes. It'll come to all of us at 3 a.m.
All in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, get it. But it's an amazing place. Like I said, I was in there on another occasion, and I was mentioning horror, and they said to me, like, "Oh, check this out." Opened a little drawer, white gloves, got this box out. Oh, there's the original teeth that Christopher Lee wore in the Dracula films for horror. And I'm just losing my mind at it. In their filming one day, interviewing somebody comes through the door. "Where do you want this?" It was a huge, gripping, dirty coat. The guy just said, "Oh, just casually, just hang it on the door." So I'm looking at this long trench coat. It was all like patched and everything. I was like, "What is that?" And I said, "I recognise that. What is it?" And he said, "Oh, it's the original coat that Hagrid wore in the Harry Potter films. We've just had it sent over." But they just hung it on the door, So the stuff they've got there is insane. It was at risk of closing a few years ago. And Michael Palin, Martin Scorsese all wrote letters to the local council to keep the place open. It is phenomenal. But because I've been doing work for them, one of the things that came up was the anniversary of Doctor Who, because they have their museum galleries that don't generally change, and then they have a couple of galleries where they'll have temporary exhibitions and things like that. So I was working on 2 exhibitions at the same time there, one for a local artist and photographer, and then this Doctor Who one. So as part of it, what we had to do was we had to make short films which could be shown in the gallery. So we travelled around. Where did we go? We went all over England and Scotland. Excuse me. And we interviewed Doctor Who superfans. And these guys have insane collectibles. Some of the stuff they have, one of a kind props on the shows. I am drawing a blank with names now, but
I know one of the people you interviewed was David J. Howe.
That's it.
I'm
Yeah,
actually know David. We've had him on our sister show before, and I've met him at conventions as well. I've read some of his books, so I'm like a David Howe fan. So it was kind of cool to see you interview him.
Yeah, well, he has all of that stuff you see in that interview, the cutaways you see, all the objects. That's an entire room in his house that he has all that stuff. Yeah, and he was great. We travelled to, I think he was living in Wales at the time. So yeah, we went to Wales as well. And we went to his house to interview him, and that was a great day. I mean, just getting to see some of his stuff. He basically just said to us, "Oh yeah," he didn't even come up with it. He just went, "Yeah, just go and shoot what you want and move what you want and touch what you want." So we got to see some really cool stuff. And his wife's lovely as well. She's a horror author.
Right? Yes, Samantha. Yeah,
Samantha. Yeah, and I mean, we were in his house interviewing. It was another one of those occasions where I kind of spotted something. We just interviewed him in his sort of dining room, which was kind of connected to his living room. And we're filming away, and we're doing it on a 2-camera setup, me and another guy. And I saw a picture on the wall, and I was like, I recognise that. And he was getting to me every time I tell him, no, I definitely know that. And then it hit me. And I was like, David, is that a Clive Barker painting? And he was like, oh, yeah, I bought it off him when I went to visit him in LA. And I was like,
oh,
my God. So I had my photo took with it because I'm a huge Clive Barker fan.
Oh, wow.
But just it just spiraled off into all of these different things. One collector, Colin, I think he was called, lived in Scotland, lived in a tiny little place, had these amazing collectibles, very knowledgeable. And when we went into his flat, or I do believe apartment, if I'm to use,
you can say flat. Not only can you say not only can you say flat, you can say lift. You don't say elevator.
Oh, cool.
We can go lift. Yeah. Use the vernacular. Talk biscuits. We're fine with that. This is an international show. We have to get ahead with that.
Would have that been Colin Noble?
Yes, I do believe it was. Yes. Yeah. We interviewed him, and we went into his flat/apartment, and he had a lot of Doctor Who stills that original photos that had been taken as they were shooting, had them framed on the wall. But he had a lot of Catholic paraphernalia, and of course, if you wander into someone's flat and you've never met them before, and they have a lot of Catholic paraphernalia, they're either going to be religious or crazy religious. And we were kind of like, well, let's hope he's not crazy religious. It turned out he wasn't religious at all. All of those props on his wall, and I presume you guys are familiar with the TV show, I'm guessing you will be, were all props from Father Ted.
Yes. I love Father Ted.
Yes.
Feck this, feck that. I can see it. It's on this channel.
Yeah. So he had that's what it all was. It was all this Catholic paraphernalia, the Virgin Mary and everything. And then as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, thank God. I thought you were a bit of a fanatic there, but it's fine. But it was a fantastic project to be involved in, and the finished gallery was absolutely amazing. It they had the full size TARDISes there, some original Daleks, things like that. But it was the reason it was called Doctor Who and Me is because they wanted to focus on the fandom. That's what they wanted to focus on. So it was really interesting to go around and see all of these different collectors and their perspectives on what it meant to them on a personal level. Yeah. Some of them were, some of the guys we interviewed, it was a huge part of their lives. And that was lovely to see. I was born in '82, so unfortunately it was Mr. McCoy when I was a little bit older. So,
did you say unfortunately? No. Did you say unfortunately or fortunately? See, right. You better not have said unfortunately. See, I'll get my first doctor. He's walking away. My first doctor was Tom Baker, so he was my number one. But when Sylvester came out, Sylvester's first season, the comedy, get rid of it. But the last 2 seasons, when Andrew Cartmel was really steering the show, I enjoyed those. Because
I didn't mind him, I'll be honest, but generally within my group of friends, he's seen as not one of the betters. I like the guy. I had the toys, I had them all. I had K9, and
I was on a cruise with him back in 1988. So hats off to you, Sylvester. I don't know if you're listening to the show. We've had him on the show several times. I've interviewed him at conventions on stage because I've done moderation. Yeah. So we're not friends, but we know each other.
Well,
don't you dare say you, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. Right. Okay. Right. Ignore that bit. Delete. Restart. It's
No,
all
no,
fine.
that's okay. I'm leaving this in. You're
No,
you're getting pinpointed on this.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, it's all good. I mean, to be fair, as you pointed out there, I think most of the hate isn't for him; it's for the writing. Like you said,
Yes.
it's
Okay.
more the
Well,
writing than
yeah,
anything.
some of the writing. The first season was,
Yeah, I'm just sort of digging myself out of the hole now, gradually, just to, you know.
Oh, we're friends with Andrew Cartmel too, the script editor. So be careful. And Sophie. Sophie, it's my okay. Sorry.
I'm from the northeast of England, where basically our mouth is always ahead of our brain. So yeah, the mouth. What is it? Silent checks your butt. Yeah, it's that thing going on. So sorry, Doctor Who people, if I've offended you.
But
I have a similar mouth, so don't worry, we understand.
Right. But of course, this isn't a Doctor Who show. This is a show about comic books and comic creations and British wholesome, fun stuff like this.
Is there a fandom out there that doesn't result in some level of discord and comparison, and people like one and not the other? I mean, you see it in everything. Star Wars, Star Trek. Yeah, you see it in all of them.
I remember it may not be something you guys are familiar with because it was more of a British and European phenomenon, although it certainly did happen over in the US as well. Back in the 80s, the home computer wars, Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum,
the BBC Micro
fight over that,
Yeah.
Ben, what were you?
No, I was a stand-up shooter. I played Williams Defender. I was one of the best players in the country, and I did not do home computers. No, I used to go and do tour events. I could go around. I could get 2-3 million. It would take me about 2.5 hours to play.
Wow.
My goodness. Well, I'm not that good.
I'm a member of a group in Manchester, the Williams Defender group, and there's one of those cafes there with the machines and stuff. So, for still first generation machines from 1980.
Is that Arcade Club? Is it?
Yeah. That's
right.
There's
one in Leeds as well near me.
There's a guy who's got. I haven't got the stand-up machine. I've just got the small controller with the what's it called, the synthesized I can't remember what you call it now. Where you just have the new chips and stuff. But it was sad life staring at a screen.
Well, I was a Commodore man, so there we go.
See, we had a Commodore 64 because that's what the military gave us. So we didn't really have a choice.
Yeah,
and my brother and I lived in arcades because that was all you kind of, that's all you had. We were in high school in the 80s. And so, we didn't, you got the Atari, but we weren't rich enough to get the Atari.
You didn't have the Atari? I had the Atari 2600. That was fun.
We were not rich enough to have the Atari.
I got rid of it soon.
Yeah,
my mother, I'm from a good old fashioned Polish Catholic family, and there were several younger siblings. We were not rich enough to get an Atari. We eventually got a used one.
Yeah.
And it had issues.
It's still brilliant fun. Up until fairly recently, I verifiably, up until recently, had one of the largest retro gaming collections in country. I got rid of a lot of it fairly recently, so that's my cup of tea, that the Commodore, the Atari, all of that type of thing. But needed to build a new computer, so a lot of that went, unfortunately. Well,
see, my son is like that. My son's an IT guy, and he actually has all of the gaming systems from his youth forward. He's 30, and he builds his own computers also, and he's building his girlfriend one right now too. And so it's just this crazy. I go to their place and I'm like, how many gaming systems do you have? Never mind, don't tell me. I'm not paying for them. I don't care. I don't want to know. And it's my fault. I got him started on it. It's completely my own fault.
Well, I'm in the smaller room at the moment. My office is the smaller of the room. The other spare room, I'm going to go again soon. So a lot of it's up in the loft above me at the moment, which is kind of like a bit sad, really. But I'm quite looking forward to getting it all down and having thousands of wires everywhere and fire hazards. And, it's all good fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Okay, so before I let someone else take a question, I have one more to ask. I'm going to put you on a close up. I was going to ask you. We sometimes ask people about geek creds, and I know Doctor Who is a geek cred. You said you said a lot of things, but I'm looking behind you and I see Tharg. I guess you were a 2000 AD fan too.
Yeah, well, it's a weird one, 2000 AD, because I only really got back into it over the last, say, 5 years, something like that. I read through the 90s, the dark days, as some would call it. Certain periods of the 90s I know weren't particularly brilliant. But I always remember, it always stuck with me, and it was probably the late 80s. So like I said, I was born in 82, so it was, late 80s. I remember just randomly picking up a copy of it on the shelf, and it stuck with me like my entire life. I couldn't tell you what issue it was, but I do know it was a Simon Bisley cover, and it was ABC Warriors on the front. And the art style of it, that sort of airbrushed style, stuck with me like until now. And so it was always at the back of my mind. And even though I am a huge comic book fan in general, I was always looking. I think that's the type of thing that I was mainly looking for. I like the feel of it. I like anthologies. Even going back to films, I like anthologies. I like all the Amicus films, which were anthology films. I like anthology pieces. I like continuations, short stories, short films. That's my type of thing. So through the years, I think although I was enjoying a lot of comic book stuff, I felt like I was massively missing out, to the point where I actually have every single back issue of 2000 AD in digital form on my iPad, and I'm working through them all.
I guilty.
Yeah.
Guilty.
It's going to take 200, 300 years. I don't know. But
that'll be fine.
Yeah, but in the process, I discovered tons and tons of
You've got time. It'll be fine.
I mean, it's the same. A lot of things. I mean, if you think about Star Trek, how much there is to watch, read, listen to.
It's intimidating. Even the weekend just gone, a thought bubble. The guy I was with who's helped me with the film, and he is very much an American comic guy. He's Marvel's, he's DC, he's very much into his manga as well. And he's saying, I want to try reading some of this stuff because you're all banging on about it at me in the car. So he's like, but what he said to me, and we went over to the 2000 AD guys, he basically said to me, he said, look, like, I want to read some Judge Dredd, but like, where do I start? So I was explaining to him how you can, with Dredd especially, kind of dip in really any point. There's just sort of key moments you really need to know about, Apocalypse War, things like that might get mentioned, but generally you can sort of like pick it up. So I think he's going to get some sort of, the essential 2000 ADs that came out. I think he's going to get some of the sort of key ones from Dredd and work his way up to the modern day. Because his only frame of reference for Judge Dredd is just him in sort of popular culture. So the Dredd film, which he absolutely loved. The Stallone film, which he says he's never seen. So I said, thank you, don't. Please don't.
Don't.
You only watch it so you know what not to do.
Yeah.
This is true.
Let's take off our helmet.
Let's take it off. I mean, to its credit though, didn't John Wagner say that Sylvester Stallone was an okay Dredd? It's just the film wasn't about Dredd, if I remember correctly. And that was him being diplomatic, I do believe.
I think he was being very diplomatic.
Yeah,
because Sylvester made some changes to it, and a lot of it was his choices. But the second film was more true to the character, and I think John had a lot more input in the second movie.
The second film, they didn't have a big budget, so it was in one block. While in the Stallone thing, it was pretty cool what they did with Mega City 1. That was like the highlight, the cityscape.
I like the setting of some of it, and I also quite liked the Angel Gang as well. I thought they were done all right. So Mean Machine was pretty good, although could have done with a bit more. They felt in that film, to me, they felt more like you could have set them up and then done them in another film and give them more screen time. But they just kind of appeared for a bit. Mean Machine got cross, and then they died.
Hammerstein was cool.
Sorry?
Hammerstein was cool.
Oh yeah, of course he was. Being
always cool.
Sold by
Droid, whatever he said.
Yeah, wasn't that Ian Drury?
We don't talk about Roy Snyder, do we? So
No, I think that it was the guy who had him in the junk shop. That was Ian Drury from the Blockheads, wasn't it? Playing that role. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Some music crossover as well. Why am I talking?
I don't think John Wagner got another house out of the Urban film, but he certainly got a house out of the first Stallone film.
I don't think many people got much out of the second one, to be honest. The budget of that was just.
I wish there'd be. I mean, are there still the rumors? Still talk in England about Mega City 1 and other TV shows? Is that still going on?
Oh yeah, because Duncan Jones is supposed to be dropping something on X this week about a production of one of the films. Everyone's second guessing.
Road Trip 2, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're waiting to see, and we have to be patient.
Yeah.
That's
do.
yeah.
We've
Yeah.
been waiting since what,
I'll believe
1979
it when
for
I
a
see it.
film? How many years is that? Anyway, Vicky, why don't you take the next question?
Yes.
Because I made you laugh, so you're
Well-
next.
I'll see how you go. Well, I want to talk to Richee about another form of his Greek geek cred, and that's you're a musician.
Yeah.
And I also am a musician. I will be honest. Now, I love a wide range. When I perform, I tend to be more classical, but I am a semi-retired headbanger
Nice.
because I am way too old to bang my head anymore. I've got the scars to prove it. I have fallen off a couple of tables. It's been a while, but eventually even your son starts to look at you a little cross-eyed and go, "Really, Mom? You're getting a little old for that." So, hey, when your son shames you, it's time to call it a day.
Yeah.
But so you've played in a band, and I actually listened to some of the music. How would you describe now? Is the band still playing, or is it on hiatus?
Which one? Was it Lead Robot?
Lead Robot.
Yeah. No, that kind of stopped. That one did. That was a really unusual project anyway, because I'm by trade, I was a session musician and I was a drummer. So I used to be hired to drum. And also, like as we actually speak, there's a music school really close to us in one of the old mills. One of the old classic Yorkshire mills is sort of been renovated, and there's a music school in there. My son goes there. He had a drum lesson today, for instance, after school. And I sometimes cover in there, so I do teach students in there as well, a little bit as well. But so Lead Robot was very unusual because it was one of the first times that I'd been the front person for it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So it was going really well. We released the first album, that went really well, and we played. It was kind of all on the up, and as most things in life are, it's all going well. It's all going well. It's a total shit. So like we ended up releasing the album.
I know how that goes.
Yeah. So we released the album. We were really pleased with it. It was getting 9 to 10 out of 10 reviews in sort of Metal Hammer, Kerrang, and things like that. And then we topped off the year by playing at Bloodstock Festival in the UK, which is it's an amazing festival, absolutely fantastic. So as we were on stage, Cradle of Filth were playing on the other stage, and then I think Dee Snider was on just before their ring. So it's an amazing festival. So we played there, really good feedback, and then it got to Christmas time and band tensions, and it kind of fizzled out. I am currently working on something with the guitarist from that band, though.
Oh, cool.
We're doing another thing together. It's kind of just in the ether at the moment.
It's still kind of feeling its way out.
Yeah, I need to get back on stage, though, because that's when I play music, that's what I enjoy the most. I enjoy playing on stage the most, because I came up through the sort of like local sort of punk scenes in the late 90s and early 2000s. So that was when like pop punk was really big and a lot of ska punk was coming through and things like that. I used to play with we'd play with a lot of the bands I was in at the time. We'd play with a lot of sort of the old school punk bands, so the Damned, the Buzzcocks, all of those sort of bands. We'd support those when they came through. But at the same time, when a lot of the American bands were coming through, so there's this punk ska band called the Mad Caddies. When they came over, we did some gigs with them. So it was a really fun time. And then when I moved away, I was making a living from being a session drummer for various people. And then when I moved away from the Northeast to go to university, so I've been in West Yorkshire for like 21 years now, I think. To come to university, I had no contacts here. I was out of the scene. I'd come from one scene. It's so hard to get back in, and I was at university at the time. So music sort of fell by the wayside a little bit. Basically, in my head, I decided that it's the music industry, as is well known, is quite a sort of like selfish, backstabbing industry. So I thought what I'd do is I'd stop working in that industry.
That's a shock, yeah.
Yeah, and then I thought I'd stop working in that industry and then work in the film industry, which is nothing like that. So you know, I just sidestepped one for the other. Really, I just need to do something creative. My family aren't creative. I have to be doing it. My wife will say if I'm not making something, or you know, I've got like. I'll just show you something. 1 second, right? I made myself a Ouija board.
Oh wow!
Sweet!
Wow!
Because I was bored and I needed to make something. So this is all Pyroad. So it's basically like a
yes.
It's what do you call it?
A little word burning tool.
Yeah. So that's just an example of the crap I have lying around my house. So I always have to be making something. So if it's not music, it's film, or sometimes it's both. And I'm at the moment sort of spreading out a bit more. I'm trying to get some theatre directing under my belt as well. And as I probably mentioned in the bio as well, me and another guy were looking at getting a short strip together. Comic, not an actual, because that would be disgusting, like a explosion in a sausage factory. So we're so that's I just thought kind of like, you know, go for it. We'll try and get something done. My very good friend, he was my best man at my wedding. We grew up together, went to school together. He's from the Northeast too. He lives in Jersey now, so it's closer to France than he is to England. He's had a degree in illustration since like 2003, and he's never done anything with it. And he's not a comic guy. He doesn't really like comics, but his final university piece was a comic strip, which he got first for. So I've always been kind of thinking like, I'd love to do something with him because we work together as musicians as well as friends. So he's going to be doing some illustration and I'm going to write it. And I think I'm lettering it as well, actually. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Might be a total train wreck.
Oh, come on. It'll be funny anyway.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to jump in, right?
That's it. Kind of like, I think I saw it at Thought Bubble at the weekend. There was a talk by, I'm rubbish with names. I bought the graphic novel as well, from Blue Fox Comics, I think it was. Reanimator Incorporated. Mm-hmm. The artist of that, I think he was doing a talk about just, you know, if you've got an idea, just jump in, just do it, just give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? And because he did that, and you know, I think he's had over like 60 successful Kickstarters or something ridiculous now. So yeah, I thought, why not? I'll give it a go. I'm not getting any younger. Something to do, innit?
Well, you mentioned that you teach at the music school that your son goes to. Yeah. What is that like, teaching a younger generation? A little surreal?
Yeah, I love it though. I mean, kids and me, it's a weird thing because when kids first meet me, because I'm 6'3", I'm 17 stone. I don't know what that is in American, 17 stone, but many pounds. I'm a big guy. I've got a skinhead. You know, I used to have a lot of piercings as well, but I've only got my ears now. Big beard. So children initially they're kind of like, oh no, he's going to eat me. But then after 5 minutes, they realise that I'm like kind of the fun uncle sort of thing. So I get on really well with little kids. We have a lot of fun. I try to make the learning really fun and cater it to the different children, because I teach a lot of children there who are neurodivergent, ADHD, autism, things like that as well. My son's got ADHD quite substantially, and I used to be a carer for a young man who has autism, so all of that's kind of like really useful. But I love it. I just think it's fantastic. And then when you can just see they're like just enjoying doing it.
Yes,
it's just lovely. And I think some of them come in because a lot of them will come in. Normally start lessons that start at like 3:30, and then normally half an hour lessons, and then it'll go up to about 9, 9:30 for some of the older people, and it's adults as well. But some of the kids you see, they come in and they're absolutely knackered from being at school all day. Within 5 minutes of a bit of play, and just getting it out, and you know, I have 2 drum kits set up next to each other, so I'll play with them as well. And sometimes, you know, they'll come in and they might be absolutely just just falling asleep. And I'm like, right, look, no, you don't want to do any reading today. You don't want to do notation. We're not going to do any of your exams. Pick a song, we'll play it, and we'll pick something, and then we'll learn it, and we'll play it together. So I think just seeing the just how important music is.
Yes.
To some of these kids, because and it's a huge outlet. The person who owns the school is called the Marshall School of Music in Queensbury. Shout out there, owned by the husband and wife, and Nick and Will Marshall. And Nick, she's behind the counter most of the time because there's a cafe in there as well. When you go in, and she said to me the other week, she said, "Look, it's 50% teaching the kids lessons, and it's 50% being a counsellor."
Yeah.
And I had a lesson the other week, and one of the kids came, and I'll say kids, she's 15. And her lesson was half an hour long. For 20 minutes of it, she was just telling me about the trouble she was having at school. And I just sat and listened to her because they just need that. They need to get there and just feel understood and a part of something. And as an added bonus, they'll learn to play a musical instrument as well. Because, you know, you guys may well have been the same as me. You know, I didn't always look this cool. I stuck out horribly at school. I was very, very, very thin. I was like, I always say I looked like Mike TV when he comes out the chocolate factory and he's been stretched by the taxi. I was just the big lanky thing. I had, believe it or not, I had hair. My hair was.
You had hair?
Yeah, my hair was so curly, right? This is what my hair used to be like. My hair was so curly. I grew dreadlocks without having to do anything to it. I actually had dreadlocks. So I had big dreads for quite a period of time as well. So I just looked an absolute state, quite frankly. I looked like a young, young Tom Hanks. Someone used to say, he looked like a young.
Oh yeah.
But I had that look going on. It's not a good look when you're trying to pull the ladies, which I was also dreadful at. So, I kind of get some of these kids. I see they're awkward and they don't fit in, and I suppose this entire nerd culture, all of this shit I've got around me in this room here. Yeah. There's a lot more over that way. There's a full Playmobil collection on that over here.
Nothing wrong with that.
No,
you have to see what Vicky's place looks like. From what I've seen, she's shown us with her camera around the room. She's the
room I'm in is my Comic-Con room. Yeah. I've got a wall of nothing but DVDs and videos. I've got a wall of nothing but signed art and photographs. I've got another room that's nothing but Star Wars and another room that's nothing but Disney. And then my bedroom is nothing but dragon art. Nice. So
I'm going to look at them.
We have we have interesting taste, my husband and I.
I'm going to look at some dragon oriented stuff tomorrow to do some filming actually. Leeds Public Library, they've got an exhibition on at the moment about fantasy art and fantasy writing. They have some original Brothers Grimm books that they've got in cabinets and everything.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And the exhibition's about how folklore influenced fantasy writing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go on to that and have a little look. But you mentioned, I'll give you a little look around. You may as well have a look. I've rambled. So this room is
here it goes, a MarkWHO77.
Oh yes, there we go.
Oh yeah. There you go. So we got. Well, that's just rubbish. There. We got down here. So down here, it's a tiny room, like I said. We've got an electronic drum kit there just for practicing.
Oh, wow.
Loads of crap on the floor. Lots and lots of board games. I collect many, many role-playing and board games. And then, if I can get it up there, because the room's so small, comics.
Oh, wow.
So there's a full Batman collection over there, covering that entire wall. Only superhero I like. And then that side stuff I need to read. That side stuff I have read. And that does not include... Sorry, I look like the Joker in The Dark Knight there, don't I? Dreadful. All of my single issue comics. That's just all my trades, you see. All my single issue comics and my 2080s are all in long boxes in the other room. So I just kind of stuff as much rubbish in here as I could, really. But I tell you what, though, I didn't actually. I'm going to have to go again. I didn't actually show you the Playmobil. There's some of it.
Oh, there you go.
So we got the Mystery Machine on the bottom there. We got the
There's Ecto 1.
Back to the Future. You can't see around there because I can't get the cable around, but we got the James Bond's Aston Martin. We've got the A-Team van. We've got Knight Rider and a few more Back to the Future bits and bobs up there.
My son has taken most of our Legos. I still have some of them. I have the 2 of the Millennium Falcons.
Oh, nice.
I had the Frank Lloyd Wrights.
Yeah.
And I have some. I have the Ghostbusters set, but he's taken most of the rest of them. So I mean,
I
I
think I
did
was
buy
priced
them for
out.
him.
I was priced out of Lego. We've got a Lego store in Leeds, and I just went
Ah,
in. Last Christmas, I saw the Home Alone house, and I was like,
yes.
and then I saw the price, and I was like, maybe.
No,
So,
it's one of those things we save up for, and it's like, okay, this year we're going to buy which sets,
yeah.
and yeah, no, unfortunately, I've been addicted to
Uh-oh.
Lego since
I
the
see
70s.
something. I see something out of the corner of my eye.
Oh, look what he has.
Oh, no.
Look at
You gotta
that.
turn the. You gotta turn the.
we're on box 4 of 14 or something. The bag, you know,
Oh.
it's
Nice.
incredible because so
Is
it's
that one of
Lego.
the Apollos?
Yeah, they give you everything. I mean, you
Yes.
take the paneling out, and it's all in there.
Yes.
All the stuff. It explains how the rocket ship works.
Mhm.
I wanted
How
so
it lands
badly
on
to
that
be an
flat,
astronaut when I was a
flat
kid.
moon in the desert of Nevada, obviously. So you know, it's all.
Yeah, you mentioned there you wanted to be an astronaut when you were a kid. We didn't
Yeah.
have aspirations of that here. I remember a very, very funny Eddie Izzard.
Well, they
stand-up
didn't
routine.
allow women astronauts
Well,
when I
that's
was
true.
a kid.
Well, we didn't have the ability. As Eddie Izzard said in one of his stand-ups, he said essentially we just had a man stood on we just stood on a ladder, just looking into the closest space, saying, you know, Essex, I am at the top of the ladder. I can see the moon. That's all we had. We had nothing. So you
No,
guys would go
I
to the
was
moon.
like 5 and I was at Cape Canaveral and I'm like, this is what I want to do. And some obnoxious tour guide said, I'm sorry, you can't be an astronaut.
Girl.
Never say.
I may have said some unpleasant things back.
Good on you. A friend of mine just
I was
over
obnoxious back then.
Yeah, a friend of mine was over there recently. Actually, he's always wanted to see a launch, and he managed to see
Oh,
one. And he
I love that. I've been to White Sands, New Mexico, where they did testing. They don't let you there now. I've learned since then, so I may have been exposed to some radiation. I lived on military bases, so I'm sure I've been exposed to many inappropriate things.
I think, like you know, like I said, the best we get over here is just like a scientist throwing a frisbee with a camera on it. I don't know. It's all good.
No, I've lived all over these United States. I'm pretty sure that I've been exposed to some things that have shortened my life. Definitely shortened my height.
Superpowers. Well,
that would be great. Let's see. I'm 4'11", and I've got a very obnoxious mouth. What does that make me?
I'm trying to be kind. I'll come back to you on that.
Come on, was okay.
But I will say, I have to say, going back to your what you were saying about music, is that there have been tons of studies about the power of music and the youth and as therapy. And I will tell you that when I was a kid, and my parents were gracious enough to take a piano from a family friend who was moving overseas. And I used to come home and I would bang out Moonlight Sonata at an ungodly speed when I was having a bad day. Probably akin to something that might fit with a little bit of Thrasher, but I didn't know that at the time. I was a kid, but that's how I would get through my anger. And then, you know, when I started playing it normal, my mother knew that I'd calmed down and it was now safe to talk to me. So
I did exactly the same. It wasn't just anger, it was sadness, frustration, happiness, just working things out. It's meditative to play music.
yes.
I used to come home from school and bless my parents, both still around. My mum's pretty much exactly like she's always been. My dad's got progressively grumpier. So he's just an 80-year-old man sat in a chair now complaining about everything, including himself. They tolerated, in fact, a lot of times enjoyed. I used to come home from school and I would do my homework and then I would drum for 2 hours, and they never once complained. That, you know, it's a loud instrument, and they never once complained. And my mum to this day still says, "I love seeing it when you play, and you know, sometimes I cover for friends' bands if their drummer can't do it or whatever." And she still loves to hear it. So, you know, it's, I don't know, go figure.
All 5 of us kids played instruments. My son plays 3 instruments.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that you don't realize how great it is. And here in the US, where they don't value it enough in the schools, I just continued I was really lucky. I know some really good musicians who continued. I just paid for lessons for my son to keep going. And then he taught himself guitar and has continued teaching himself. And he plays for fun now. And I just remind him, you have a bad day, you go play. And it's amazing how much better you feel. And then he remembers that.
Totally just heals. It's like I said, I didn't come from a musical family. Well, kind of. Long story short, I don't mind talking about it, but long story short, I found out that my dad adopted me when I was 21. He adopted me when I was 1 year old. Him and my mum got together, but I didn't know this. Found out when I was 21. Then my mum told me about my birth father, and I found out that this is weird when you say about nature versus nurture.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather on that side was a musician in the army based in India.
Oh.
He was a paddle player. And my birth father, although not an actual musician, he was the manager of, he was Status Quo's manager for a while, Lindisfarne's manager, and he was PA for Lenny Kravitz for a bit as well.
Wow.
So that links there, which is kind of
you
really
still
weird.
have this like music kind of flowing through the gene pool.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's really quite strange. So that's the only sort of music on our side. My son, he plays. In fact, he won his Battle of the Bands on Saturday night.
Oh wow, very good.
Yeah,
very
10
good.
bands, adults, as well.
Wow.
He's 14. Also adopted. We adopted him too, and he's a drummer as well. Very talented drummer. So that influence is there with him as well. But it's just I love it. I just love making things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, I think we might have run out of time. I don't know. Time is pushing on.
But, we have so much more of this interview to go. Maybe we could do a second part.
Oh, that's good. We can have an intermission right now.
We can. So, folks, if you want to see the rest of this interview, and I'm sure you do, go to the next video, episode 12B, and we will have another hour, because I'm sure we're going to be talking for at least another hour. That was long.
We might be talking Shakespeare, in which I might ask the question, 12B or not 12B.
And on that note, bye.